How you doing, everyone? Welcome back. Well, you know, if you were with me about a year or so ago, um, I was actually talking about school shootings at the time, right? And I had actually brought that up several times, you know, because there have been far too many of them, right? Including the one that just happened in Minneapolis, right? And I'm not going to get into like the numbers and how often it happens. I've done that before, and that just keeps updating. And I will get into uh, some more information when I do a little bit more actual research and have some actual numbers for you. I was just kind of glancing through the statistics before recording this video, but yeah, obviously we have a problem. We have a problem, and some people want to offer their thoughts and prayers, which is all fine and good. Prayers are important, but you offer thoughts and prayers every single time and nothing changes. It's almost like faith without works is pointless, right? You can pray all you want, but you also have to act on it. It's not just, dear God, be with these people and don't let it happen again. No, it's not that simple. It's not that simple, is it? And I'm saying this as a Christian. It is not that simple. You can't just say, you know what, God be with these people and don't let this thing happen. Don't let these things happen again. No, you know what? We can do things to actually make them not happen again. Or at the very least, minimize, reduce in number and frequency how often they happen. We can do things to at least reduce the body count when they do happen. But no, we won't do that because, you know, I get it, the Second Amendment, and I'm a gun guy myself. But there are things that we can do that don't require violating the Second Amendment. Yes, there are gun control measures that we can take. That's not, and people hear those words, gun control, and they assume, well, they're coming to take our guns. When has anybody ever come to take your guns? When has it ever happened? You know what? They told you that Biden was going to come and take your guns. Did he do it? No. They told you that Obama was going to come and take your guns. Did he do it? No. They told you that Clinton was going to come and take your guns. Now, he did pass the um, assault weapons ban. However, did anybody have their guns taken away? No, because if you already had them, they were grandfathered in. You just couldn't get them after that ban went into effect. Until that ban expired, of course. So, it's, you'll have to excuse the noise here. I've got a cat playing with something over there that is getting picked up. So if you're hearing it, that, in fact, there she is right there. That's Penelope. Anyway, yeah, there are definitely things that we can do, right? We can have age restrictions on firearms, like increase the age limit. We can increase the age limit. And what else can we do? We can have red flag laws, right? Red flag laws. That seems common sense to me, doesn't it? Background checks, close the gun show loophole. All kinds of things we can do. But of course, well, they're just coming to take your guns. First of all, it's never happened. Nobody has ever tried to come and take anybody's guns. Second of all, there are so many guns in this country that it would take, somebody actually did the math on it, and it would be hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. At the rate of, like, I think 1 gun per second or 1 gun per minute or something like that. I don't remember, but it would take hundreds of years to get them all. I would have to go find that source, but somebody actually did the math on it. And it's not going to happen. And that's just the guns they know about, right? So they're not coming to get your guns because, I'm sorry, but if you live way out in the middle of Nowhereville, Montana, first of all, they can't even find you to come and get your guns. And second of all, they understand that you need your guns out there for your own survival because, you were probably hunting your own meat. Good chance that you're growing your own vegetables. They're not coming after your guns. And then people like to say, well, it's a mental health thing. Couple things on that. First of all, the vast majority of people with mental health issues are absolutely harmless. Now, are there exceptions to that? Of course there are. Of course, there are some people who have mental health issues that are extremely dangerous. Most are harmless. But, you know what? It's a mental health thing. First of all, let's stop stigmatizing mental health like that. Because now you're making anybody with any kind of a mental health issue seem like just some nutbag who's ready to just kill anybody on sight, which is not true. So stop stigmatizing mental health like that, for one. And for two, let's give you the talking point that it is a mental health issue. Let's give you that talking point. Great, let's fund mental health. Oh, wait, we can't do that because that's communism, right? Yeah. I'm tired of your bullshit talking points. Well, it only happens in blue areas. You sure about that? Are you sure about that? Because I was looking at some of the statistics. Like I said, I was looking at it, and I didn't compile the list. I was just looking at it just to kind of get a feel for where I was going to go with this video. But I'm sorry, when you've got it happening in Texas, red state, Montana, red state, Idaho, red state, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida. Okay, those are all red states. However, yeah, as we saw with the one in Minneapolis, it happens in blue states too. It happens in California and Minnesota and New York and Illinois, Massachusetts, Washington. Yeah. Yeah. Guess where else it happens? It happens in purple states like Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Arizona. You know what that tells me? It tells me it's not a red state, blue state thing. It tells me it's a uniquely American issue. Because where else do you hear about this happening? Where else in the world? We have had 34 mass shootings just in the month of August. And as I'm recording this, the calendar just flipped over to the 28th. So that's 34 in 27 days with, what, 28, 29, 30, 4 days left to go. 4 days left to go at time of recording, because it just flipped over to the 28th. So, stop pointing fingers at red states, blue cities, red cities. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That is irrelevant. It is an American thing. Stop with the thoughts and prayers, because guess what? The most recent one, it was in a Catholic school. Actually, yes, it was a Catholic school, but there was actually a mass going on at the time. So they were praying at the moment. So, thoughts and prayers. You know what? Keep your thoughts and prayers, all right? Send your prayers up, fine. Keep the people in your thoughts. But take action. And don't tell me that now is not the time to politicize this. If now isn't the right time, when will be? The time to make it political was before it happened. But we couldn't politicize it then because because another one had just happened. Okay, so then the time to politicize it would have been before that. Well, no, we couldn't do that because another one had just happened. No. Stop kicking the can. Stop kicking the can. We can do things. And we can do things without violating the Second Amendment. I know there are some people out there who want to repeal the Second Amendment. Other people out there want to amend the Second Amendment. I don't think we need to do that. A lot of people want to ban the AR-15 style rifles. I don't think we need to do that either. You know what? In fact, I don't think that would really do much, if anything, that by itself. What we need to do, and that starts with us gun owners, starts with you, starts with me, those of us who have guns. We need to change the gun culture in this country. Instead of glorifying them, how about if we respect them for what they are? They are tools that can be used to cause mass death, as we have seen time after time after time after time. Let's stop glorifying them. When we get certain politicians out there, and I'm looking at you, Lauren Boebert, and Thomas Massie specifically, you're the two that come to the top of my head right now, because you're the two that I know of who have done this. And I know others have as well, but those are the names that come to mind. Stop sending out Christmas cards with your whole family gathered around the Christmas tree holding your AR-15s. That's just psychotic. Okay? That is psychotic. Stop glorifying guns. There's no reason you have to give them up. But stop glorifying them. When I was a kid, everybody had guns. And I knew that my dad had guns. I didn't know where they were. I knew he had them. Had no access to them. It's also not something that he talked about all the time. Yeah. Now, people don't shut up about their guns. It's like, dude, yeah, we get it. It's okay if you have your guns, right? Nobody is taking that away from you, right? But if you have to define your masculinity by your firearms, you might want to double check your masculinity, because you sound insecure to me. There are a lot of things that guys define themselves by that, you might want to check yourself because you sound pretty insecure. People who drive those guys that have those big diesel trucks that they don't need a diesel engine, but they want the diesel just so they can modify it so they can roll coal, compensating for something. Same thing with all you guys that are, bragging about all the guns you have. I mean, yeah. You have to compensate for something, don't you? Stop glorifying guns. We can do things to make a real difference, and we can do things that don't violate the Second Amendment. And when you say it's a mental health issue, great, let's fund mental health. But don't blame mental health alone. Because a lot of times that's got nothing to do with it. So, between mental health treatment and things that we can do on the front with guns, and gun owners, we need to change the gun culture. Between those things, we can at the very least reduce this number drastically. At the very least, we can do that much. Hopefully we can get to a point where it's actually shocking to see it in the news again. Hopefully. I'll see you next time.